Hey Lower School, it's Dr. Lamkin again checking in. Today I'm hanging out in the library, you can see. It's still really quiet and lonely in this building. But I heard from so many of you that watched the read aloud video that I sent out a couple of weeks ago, and it blessed me so much to know that you watched it and you enjoyed it. And so that was exciting for me. So as I promised, today's video is going to be specifically for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders with some book recommendations for you. So the honest truth about Dr. Lamkin is that my favorite thing to do, especially in the summer, is to read. I have stacks of books by my coffee table in my living room, by my bed in my bedroom. I take them when I go to the beach, when I sit out on my back deck, everywhere. I always have lots of books around. And I've read lots of really good books this summer, and I've been specifically looking and reading for books that I thought that I could recommend to you. So I've got 4 books that I think are really great. I've read them this summer, and I hope that maybe you will check them out. As always, you're going to want to talk about your book choices with your moms and dads to make sure that it's something that your family agrees on that's a good fit for you. You can check these books out in the public library, or you can of course order them from Amazon or visit Barnes & Noble. So here are just a couple of recommendations for you based on what I have read this summer. So first is a book called The Bad Guys by Aaron Blabey, I believe is how you say his name. This is a book that I don't know that I would have picked by myself if someone hadn't recommended it to me, but they did, and I read it and I loved it, and I'm really glad that I did. So the idea behind this book is that you can see these characters there on the front. They're kind of characters that get a reputation for being the bad guys in some fairy tales and things like that, and so they're trying to make a case for why they're really not bad guys. And you know, after reading it, it really makes me wonder if Little Red Riding Hood might not have been the bad one. But anyway, I hope that you'll check this book out. One of the best parts about it, I think, is that it's kind of written comic book style, so the pictures go right along with the words and make it really interesting to read. Also, if you're somebody that enjoys a good laugh over, you know, a joke about bodily noises and things like that, this book has you covered. The other awesome thing is that this book is part of a series. So if you read the first of the Bad Guys series and you really like it, there's at least 3 others in the series that I know of that you can check out. And I love when I find a good series, because usually if I like the first book, I'm going to like all the others. So again, The Bad Guys, that's my first recommendation for you. Now my second one, this is crazy. This is a book that Mrs. Thomas recommended to me. One of the best ways that I find out about new books is to talk to my friends and find out what they've read. And so she described this book to me, and she told me that it was about giant sewer rats and cockroaches and moths and bats. And I thought that she was crazy that I was going to actually enjoy this book, because that stuff just sounds super creepy. But I ended up loving it. This book is called Gregor the Overlander. It's not a new book, it's been out for a while. I don't know how I didn't hear about it. It's also part of a series. It's written by Suzanne Collins. And so the idea in this book is that there's a boy and his younger sibling that somehow fall down a vent from their place in New York City, and they go underground where they encounter all of these characters and this whole other world underground, and it's really, really interesting. They're trying to get back to the top. It's one of those books that I started reading kind of late at night, and I stayed up way past my bedtime finishing it because I had to find out if Gregor was going to be okay. I think I also said the other great thing about it is that this is part of a series, so if you really like the first book, there's other books in this series that you can get into, so check out Gregor and the Overlander series. Now my next 2 books are both about friendship. I love good mysteries, but I also love stories that tell the great stories about friends. And so this book is called A Hole in the Fence. It's written by Diane Lill Adams, and she is a Christian author. And so I always think that's really cool when authors take their faith and work it into their stories. And so this is a really great story about 2 people that are friends, 2 kids. They end up meeting each other when they're staying at their grandparents' houses by looking through the fence. There's a hole in the fence, and that's how they meet each other. And I think I really connected to this book because when I was a kid, we had like a secret gate in our fence, and my friends and I could go back there and play. So it kind of reminded me of being a kid. So this is a really good book that I'd recommend if you're looking for a story about friendship, A Hole in the Fence. The last book that I have to share with you is my absolute favorite book that I have read this summer. This book was recommended to me by a friend of mine who is a principal all the way in Texas. He said I would really like it, and I did. It is called Pax by Sarah Pennypacker. And this is a book I would definitely recommend for 5th graders, 5th grade parents. It might even be a great book to read with your child. It is a beautiful, beautiful story about a boy and a fox, and they're great friends, and they get separated, and the whole book is kind of their journey, finding each other again in the midst of kind of some turmoil and war. But it is a beautiful, beautiful story about friendship. I'm going to be honest and tell you that I cried a whole lot at the end. And any 5th graders that read it, I would love to know what your thoughts were about the ending, if you think you would have written the same ending or what the author was thinking when she wrote it. So those are just 4 books that I read this summer that I hope that you'll take a chance to check out. Remember to keep reading. It is so fun. Enjoy these last a few weeks of summer, and I can't wait to see all of you here back at Salisbury Christian soon. Bye!